So how can we tweak the admin panel? Well, in some aspects, so when it comes to the individual fields to be precise, we can typically do that in the models. There we have various extra options which we can set, like editable equals false, which of course I don't want to set here. But we got some field-specific options which affect the form where the field is rendered here in our model when we work on the fields themselves. But I'm pretty happy with what we have there. There are some settings we can add here. You can always dive in the official docs to play around with all possible options. But I want to set some admin-wide settings, to be precise, settings which affect this page where we see all the posts. And for that, we go to admin.py and we add a new class here. We add a post admin class. Now, this class name is up to you, but it should extend admin.modeladmin. And then in there, we can add a couple of settings. For example, we can add list filter to add a filter on this posts page and to specify by which fields we should be able to filter. And I want to be able to filter by author. That is possible, even though it's a related field. We can still filter by that. And I want to be able to filter by date and by tags, let's say. These are the three fields which make the most sense to me here. Hence, we set this to a tuple where we simply add those field names. So author, tag, and date, like this. I also, as I said, want to display a couple of columns here, so that we don't just have these post objects here, but instead we maybe show the title, the date, the author, something like this. Hence, I'll add list display, which is the setting for that, where we then add title, author, and maybe date as a second value like this. And as explained earlier in the course, these field names which you specify here, of course, have to be exactly the same field names you have in your model class. Now with that, we need to make sure that we also load this post admin class, so to say. So when we register post, we now pass post admin as a second argument. And with that, we can save this and get an error because Django thankfully checks what I set up here. And I just emphasized that you have to use the exact same names. Well, there is no field name tag. It's tags with an S. So of course it should be tags here as well. So now save this, and thankfully Django has this check. Now with this saved, if we reload here, we got these columns and we can filter. Now we can automatically sort by these columns here, by the way. And with that, this already looks much nicer, I would say. Now I also want to make sure though that when we add a post, the slug is filled out automatically. We can still override it manually then, but it should be pre-populated automatically. And for this, we can add pre-populated fields. And this takes a dictionary as a value, where we use the field that should be pre-populated as a key. So in this case, the slug field, using that field name here. And then, as a value, we have a tuple of all the fields that provide the values for pre-populating that slug field. In this case, just the title. Again, save this. And now if we reload here, when we add a new post, if I type here, that slug gets filled out automatically. And with that, I'll then add my third and last dummy post here. Nature at its best. Like this. Add the excerpt. Like this. Then grab the image name, which is Woods JPEG, and some content. And here I'll again take one paragraph, add this here and get rid of these indentations. And then just again, if we want to repeat this multiple times like that. And pick an author, which again is me, add a tag or multiple tags, and save this. So now we have all those posts added, we have all that data added, and we are able to administer this as needed. Now, I of course want to make sure that if I go to localhost 8000 to my blog here, I no longer load that dummy data from that all posts list here, but that instead now in our views, we query the database with help of Django's models, and we display that model data, so that data coming from the database in our templates.